I am Melissa Anschutz, and I play Lauren in the film. I got involved in the film because I'm friends with Kevin Interdonato, who did another film with me a while back, and then we were slated to do yet another film together. So when this project came about, he reached out and sent me the script, and of course, the script was dynamite.
I play Erin, and I got involved like any other actor. I auditioned, I got the role, and I was the wild card. Like everyone on set knew each other, had worked with each other, and they, you know, made a gamble and brought me in, and it was so great. I was so happy they did that.
And so that was really fun to get inside the head of someone who was a little bit more wanted to please everyone, more of a diplomat, I guess, versus a strong woman. So I did some studying behind what that would look like. And so it was really fun to dive inside this person and become Lauren.
So I play a teenager, distant, into her own things, doesn't want to communicate. And as we go along, we really understand the trauma and what's happening inside Erin. And so she's just the small version of what she could be.
So the process for me, everyone else on set thought was a little strange, but it's a great process for me because of the high intensity and the high power emotion that went into each, several of these scenes. And, when you see the film, you'll understand it was all over the board with emotion. I didn't eat. Right? Because when you're empty, you're a little bit shaky and a little bit hysterical inside. And it just gave me the leap pad that I needed to dive in deep when we were in those scenes. I already felt weak and shaky. And then obviously what was happening in each scene lended itself to that.
Playing Erin, I knew I had a lot of emotional scenes, and I made a playlist, and I do that sometimes for my roles. So I had this whole playlist of like 10 songs that I picked where I thought in the film I could use these songs. And so, we all had our own way of like getting into these scenes, and we're all kind of tied to the couch, and you could kind of see each of our own methods down the line of how to stay in this world. And so for me, it was always having like one of my headphones in at a time in between the takes. So I'd be there and I'd be like half in the world of Erin, and then half in, being able to listen to the director and being able to interact with everyone. So I was always like teetering in between both worlds. And then when I had to go in, I just really dialed into those songs.
Stop! Hey, stop! 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 Stop!
So, and then once we were in the scenes, I gotta say, all of the actors that were surrounding Lauren or me in those scenes were so phenomenal that it was easy to be drawn in. I mean, we were all such good scene partners for each other. And so in your mind, what's happening in the film is happening to you, right? So you're not acting.
I guess it really brought up a lot of like personal things for me, which was interesting. I was surprised by what it does, because usually I think about the time I was heartbroken or a certain loss, and this time I was thinking about other things that I never thought about and pulled from a character before.
The hardest scene for me was a real big transition between fear and anger. There's a moment for Lauren where she transitions from being terrified into being blown away, blow your mind, furious, angry, like, see red angry. So that transition just inside was a difficult one to make.
I have a scene where I'm in the bathroom, and then my stepdad, played by Nick, comes in. And I was really nervous about this because you're really vulnerable. I was sitting on the toilet, and I remember it just like worked. After the first take, I was just like hit by the surprise of emotion. And it was like, wow, like when the characters are doing what they should be doing, it just falls into place. All the emotions will come out. Everything that my character is holding on to is just like bottling at the surface.
Well, I'll say we're trained to just jump in a scene. So whatever scene order that is, it typically doesn't matter. In this particular film, it was so much easier to have it go in order because the emotions are changing significantly from the beginning to the end. So it allowed me to stay focused on where we were in the story, or whether that be not like looking around and breaking your concentration, almost a hyper concentration, that you could stay exactly where you needed to be in line with the story.
Shooting it in order felt just like doing a theater piece, which was really nice. And I guess similar to what Mel was saying is that you could really just commit and dive in to where we are in the story. You know, instead of having to be like, okay, what am I shooting today? Oh, I'm shooting the opening and we're supposed to be really happy, and then I'm shooting a death scene, and then I'm shooting and so that you have to go through a roller coaster and you have to prepare yourself for those different rides each time. And this time I could just prepare myself to be in the story, because we're going to be taken from point A to point B every single day. And so if I show up at point A, I'm going to reach point B, and then that's my new point A for the next day. And so you really just commit to the story and you just ride that until the end. And that was really nice and really refreshing.
Working with John was such a pleasure. He has a unique style. He is what I would refer to as an actor's director, which means that he understands, you know, or he appreciates your process, even if he doesn't have the same kind of processes, and he dives in with you.
And the same thing with John is like, you don't get to hang out with the director as much as you do in something like this. And that was really great. Like, I really felt like I got to know John, and I didn't feel like afraid to be like, hey, I have this idea. I'm going to do this. And sometimes he'd be like, I'm going to surprise you on this one. I have an idea. Because he really, I mean, he's a movie buff. He loves his movies and his like cult classics. And so it's really great to have him be inspired by his love of movies and be bringing things to the table in that sense. And it was really fun to live in his world.
You know, there were moments where he would come and softly pull you aside, and then you would have this conversation together. And it was a very intimate experience in that respect, which I feel like enabled you to be able to feel safe and free to do what you needed to do. And then he would direct you if you wanted to direct you in a different way. It was done more quietly and more privately. And then you would come together in that scene. And it wasn't an explosive thing for everybody on set to be hearing. You know, he was very much just with you in those moments. And like I said, that just made me feel very safe as an actress to be able to let go and to just really dive into Lauren, become her, and know that whatever he was seeing, I trusted. So that trust element was significant in my opinion. I do also want to say that this entire shoot was very special. I'm looking at my daughter. We all got so close on set. It was a small cast and crew, and we were all in it together the entire way. Whether it was a weird process that you were witnessing, but everyone was so supportive. And I can't tell you how many friendships were born from this particular shoot. It holds a very special place in my heart, and it always will.
Did you think I wouldn't be able to kill you, William?
Let's get this party started.